So today we are going to be learning about Booleans, conditionals, lists, dictionaries, and tuples. So last week we learned about variables, which are strings and numbers. Strings are arrays of characters indexed starting at 0. So what this means is words are made up of letters, right? So strings are made up of characters. And you can number the letters of a word which start at 0. So, for example, the word R, A would be 0, R would be 1, and E would be 2. And then each letter is a character, and the whole word R is an array of those letters. We also learned that numbers can be manipulated using operators, and the print command is used to output values to our computer screen. So this week we're going to be learning about Booleans, which is another type of variable. Booleans represent one of two values, true or false. So you can evaluate expressions in Python and get a Boolean output. So for example, we have, let's make a variable called bool. Let's make a variable called true or false. And then we have the expression 2 is greater than 3. So 2 is not greater than 3. So this variable should have the value false. So now let's print true or false and see what happens. Because 2 is not greater than 3, our variable true or false is false because it's not true. So now, logical operators are ways we can combine Booleans. We can combine or evaluate Booleans. So the AND operator tells the computer that in order for the whole thing to be true, both parts have to be true. Or means that only one of the parts has to be true, and not means it returns true if it's false, which is a little bit confusing. Identity operators are is and is not. So is returns true if both variables are the same object, and is not returns true if both variables are not the same object. So you can also make your own Boolean variables. So let's say is this Python equals true, and then print is this Python. And then it printed true. So here we're creating a Boolean variable called is this Python, and the value we're giving it is true. So conditionals. If-else statements are conditionals that we use in Python. They allow our computer to execute commands if certain conditions are met. So we have if. The format for conditionals is if 2 is greater than 3, print 2 is greater than 3. So here is an example of a conditional. This is an if-else ladder. So first, we ask our computer, is this conditional true? Is this Boolean true? Is 2 greater than 3? No. So it's not greater than 3, so the computer does not do this. It does not print 2 is greater than 3. Then it goes else. So if this doesn't work, else means if the first part of the if-else ladder doesn't work, then do this for everything else. So because 2 is not greater than 3, it will print 2 is less than 3. So here's an example. A is equal to 33 and B is equal to 200. If B is greater than A, if the Boolean 200 is greater than 33 is true, then print B is greater than A. So 200 is greater than 33, so our Boolean is true, and then the computer executes this command. So it does print B is greater than A. Elif basically means if the first condition is not met, try the next condition. So here's an example. If B is greater than A, print B is greater than A. Elif A equals B, print A and B are equal. So our condition, our Boolean, B is greater than A. 33 is greater than A. 33 is greater than 33. That is not true. So this command never happens. It never runs. So then our computer goes to this line. Elif A is equal to B. 33 is equal to 33. So this is true. So the computer prints A and B are equal. So here is an example. Elif 2 is less than 3. Print 2 is less than 3. So first it checks if 2 is greater than 3. It is not, so it skips this line, goes to this line, it checks if 2 is less than 3, and it's true, so the computer prints 2 is less than 3. The else conditional is used to catch anything that isn't caught by the preceding conditions. So if nothing else works, do this. So for example, so 2 is not greater than 3, so this statement never gets executed. 2 is not equal to 3, so this never gets executed. So then finally the computer says, if none of what we tried earlier works, then we do this. So because these first two conditions did not work, we're going to print 2 is less than 3. So else basically means if everything else didn't work, we're going to do this instead. So here's an example. We make two variables, A is equal to 200 and B is equal to 33. If 33 is greater than 200, which is false, it would have printed B is greater than A. But that is not true, so we go to the second condition. If A is equal to B, 33 is not equal to 200, so this statement never happens. So then finally, because none of the previous things worked, we print A is greater than B. And then you can also use and or to combine conditional statements, like in this example. So if A is greater than B, 200 is greater than 33, so this first part is true. And if 500 is greater than 200, which is also true, so the and means both of these parts have to be true in order for the whole thing to be true. So because both parts are true, the whole thing is true, so the computer will print both conditions are true. So lists are collections of data. So you make lists by creating a variable with the name for the list, and then using square brackets, we put the things in the list and separate them with commas. And then lists are indexed starting at 0. So in this list, apple would be given the number 0, banana would be 1, and cherry would be 2. And then you can print whatever is at index 1 of this list by referring to this list and then putting the index number in brackets. So this list, whatever is at 1. so 0, 1. So print index 1 of this list would give us banana. So accessing a range of indexes. You can access multiple items in a list by giving a range of indexes. So we have two numbers inside the brackets, and they're separated by a semicolon. So the indexing would start at 2 and it would end at 4 because 5 isn't included. So we would start at 0, 1, 2. You would start at cherry and end at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So cherry, orange, and kiwi. So we can change item values by referring to that index of our list and setting it to a different value. So this list 1, we're going to go to index 1, 0, 1, and we're going to change it from banana to black currant. So the new list would be apple, black currant, cherry. So let's do an example of a list. Colors equals red, orange, green. So if I wanted to print the first color, I would do print colors and then whatever is at index 0. So this would print red. And if I wanted to print red to orange, I would do 0 to 0, 1, 2 because it goes back 1. And it doesn't include green, so it goes back to orange. So red and orange. And then if I wanted to change orange to yellow, I would refer to the index number, which is 0, 1. Colors of index 1 equals yellow. And then I would print colors. And then red, yellow, green. So that is all for today's lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed.